Are we good? Or do we just like dilly-dally for a little bit?
You can dilly-dally until you're
I don't
ready.
mind dilly-dallying. I'm a good dilly-dallyer. Do I grab the mic or can I?
You can do it.
I'm going to grab the mic.
See, podcasting is hard. This will make you appreciate it.
I do appreciate it. All right. Everyone calm down. All right. I'm going to go.
I'm calm.
I need you to dial in. Okay.
I'm dialed.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back, guys, to the #1 travel podcast in the world. Of course, we're talking about Love It There.
Very nice. That was a good intro. You did a really good job. Oh, it's easy. Yeah. Yeah, that only took...
If I had to do anything beyond one line, it would be much more difficult.
We've only been recording for 4.5 minutes, and we finally got into the episode. Perfect intro. So, so today we have a special guest with us. This is boyfriend right here. I was gonna say, are you gonna name drop him? We've only talked about Hallie's boyfriend for how many episodes? No, he still remains nameless. Boyfriend. I think it's more fun that way. Okay, well, if you watch on our YouTube, you'll be able to see what he looks like. So, well, do you want to explain why you brought boyfriend on the podcast? We brought boyfriend on. It's so weird to say that. We are going to talk about our merch, which we talked a little bit about yesterday. But if you're watching on video, you can see that Kelsey is wearing our merch. And we're going to change a couple things about it. We're going to make the text on the front a little bit darker so it stands out just a little bit more. But that was just kind of the tester. And you guys really liked it when we put pictures of it on our Instagram. Check out the back. Oh, and the back is so good. Yeah, you can see it. Make more memories. Hey, so good. And then the sleeve says Bianco, who we're partnering with on this. And also this is why we brought Pearson, because he has his Bianco merch. There's the name. Oh, shoot. Didn't mean to do that.
Wow. Yeah, okay. Pearson, hi.
Pearson loves being on the podcast now. Yeah.
I met Luke back. And are we telling a story? Can I tell a story? I figured supporting small businesses, so it's like people want to know the story.
I met Luke way back.
But yeah, we're repping.
Yeah.
Rep the boy.
So yes, we wanted to show you guys these hoodies that we're wearing. Like Hallie said, this is not final product. We're working on it, but let us know. Comment on the YouTube or DM us on Instagram if you like these hoodies. They're great quality. They're super thick. This should be your new airport fit. So that's the goal of our merch line. Yes. We want to supply you with your travel needs. Exactly. So if you guys like it, the tagline, make more memories, that's a Bianco thing. But it just fits so perfectly with our brand. Okay. Sorry, boyfriend I'm getting so distracted. He's distracting Hallie. So
Whoa.
You were only supposed to do the first line. I need to leave.
Yeah. All right. Kelsey, let's talk about Denver. All right. How about them Nuggets?
Oh my God.
All right. Anyway, I'm going to go.
Yes. Bye, guys. Thank you for your contribution. Thanks for helping. All right. So this week's episode is where Kelsey was this weekend. She went on a little girls trip to Denver, which will be fun because this was so recent and relevant. So I've heard none of this. So I can't wait to hear all about it. It seemed like it was really fun. And I've also never been to Colorado. So it's somewhere I've always wanted to go. And it looked like it was really fun. So yeah, we had such a great trip. You need a good girls trip. These are my friends from college, and we all, when we get together, just have such a weird sense of humor that I don't have with anybody else. And it's just like the amount of laughs we had this weekend. Oh, it was just so amazing. So great. Good for the soul. Oh, it was so good for the soul. We had some tears. We had some laughter. It was the whole shebang. So whole emotional roller coaster in Denver. It truly was. But as a preface for this episode, I did not go to Denver as a tourist. I went to visit friends. So a lot of stuff we did was just like hanging out with each other. And it just happened to be in Denver where my friend lives. One of the nights we literally, when we got back from a hike and we were too tired to do anything else, we got in our comfy clothes and ordered Thai food, Uber Eats, and binged The Bachelor. So That sounds like a great night to me.
It was actually so great. Yeah, so my friend that lives in Denver, she has a little fire pit on her deck of her apartment, and we just like took our little Thai food out there and we're drinking wine by the fire and just chatting all night. That's when we shed some tears, had some laughs.
Oh, it's always the wine.
Oh,
Gets me every
brings
time.
it out. And then, we came inside and binged The Bachelor, which was funny because we were just talking about how I don't watch The Bachelor, but I feel like that's such a good show to just like watch with your girlfriends because you don't have to know anything that's going on. You can just join in wherever they're at, and then you can just talk about, the drama that's happening. So so that was so great. But anyways, I did not go to Denver as a tourist. So this episode, and none of our episodes truly are supposed to be like all encompassing every single thing to do in these cities. It's more just sharing our experiences that we have when we're in those cities. So there's a lot more to Denver that we're not going to talk about today, but it's more of just kind of sharing our thoughts and experiences, or I guess mine, from the weekend that I had there.
Yeah, I think it's always funny because I always think about like the cities that we pick, and then I'm like, if somebody that like grew up in this town or like actually lived there heard like what we were saying, they were probably like, they missed so much.
Right.
But we're just sharing like the little tidbits of what we get to experience, and hopefully in a semi-entertaining way. So without further ado, we're going to get into today's episode on Denver, Colorado. Okay, let's start out with your experience flying to Denver, because I know that it was your first time flying Southwest. And I also recently just flew Southwest for the first time when I went to Tulsa, and it was a riveting experience. So I'm curious what you think.
I didn't know that you flew Southwest to Tulsa.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I can't believe we haven't talked about this before. Everybody that has flown Southwest knows there's no assigned seats, right? So they advise that you check in exactly, when check-in opens for your flight 24 hours early. Everybody says, make sure you check in right away so that you don't get the last boarding group. Okay. And I knew this. I just forgot. And so the day before my flight, it's 3 hours after check-in opened. And I'm like, oh, I can probably check in for my flight now. I better go check in. And then I'm like, so used to flying Delta because Detroit's a Delta hub. So I like open up my Delta app. I'm like, where's my flight? And then I'm like, oh yeah, no, I booked Southwest. And so I'm like, oh shoot, I'm probably going to get one of the last boarding groups. But I was like, okay, it's only 3 hours later. Maybe it won't be too bad. Well, no, my boarding group was C31. And I didn't know how many, I knew C was bad because obviously A and B are first.
Yeah.
C31 sounds pretty low. I'm like, I can't imagine there's that many behind me.
Yeah.
Well, so then it gets to, I get to the airport. My flight's at 6:35 in the morning. I get there plenty early. I just walk straight on to boarding, and I'm the third to last one on the plane.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah.
That's so rough.
I'm walking in. I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm going to get stuck with the middle seat. That's fine. So I'm walking down, the little aisle of the airplane, looking, trying to see where I want to sit. I mean, it's pretty much awful. Well, then I come up to this nice old couple, and they are seated in the aisle in the middle. And so I'm like, oh, great. I can sit in the window. This is perfect. And so I asked them if I can sit there, and they're like, yeah, of course. And then I have nowhere to put my overhead bag.
Right. That's what happened to me too.
Yeah. So then I'm like, I have my coffee in my hand, and I'm like trying to like move the suitcases around.
Okay. Can we talk about like how anxiety invoking this process is? Like anytime getting on a plane, it always is like so stressful to me because everybody for some reason is in like such a big hurry, even though like the plane's not going to leave.
Taking off. Right.
But I feel so like rushed by everyone around me. And then like, I hate like having to put my suitcase in the overhead bin and like everyone's just staring at you.
No, I know.
And I hate it.
Yeah, I'm like, I really need to like hand my coffee to somebody so that I can put my suitcase up, but I felt so helpless. I'm like, I don't really know what to do. And so luckily this nice man from this couple, he like starts moving the suitcases around for me, and then he like takes my suitcase and puts it up for me. And
what a
it was
gentleman.
seriously so nice. I was like, thank you. That I appreciate that so much. And then they let me sit in the middle seat or in the window seat, which was great because
That's so nice.
oh my gosh, like I mentioned, the flight was early in the morning, and so I had the best sunrise that I got to see on this flight.
Yeah, you put it on your story. It was pretty.
Yeah, it was so pretty. And normally don't pick the window. One, because you remember the Alaska Airlines door plug issue.
Oh my gosh.
So
really?
typically I wouldn't pick the window for that reason, but also because you need to prepare going to elevation to somewhere like Colorado, and you need to be super, super, super hydrated so that you don't get altitude sickness.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to have to get up and go to the bathroom on this flight, so I was trying not to drink water. But yeah, I felt like a little bit of altitude sickness later in the trip, but it was fine. I already felt bad enough for this couple having to put up with me that I was like, I'm just going to sit here and my bladder almost explode.
Well, nothing's worse than when I it was my flight to Spain this past summer, and I had my water bottle with me, like one of these that like has a straw, so you have to like open the lid.
Right.
And so we're in the air, and I grabbed my water bottle for the first time to take a sip of water. And like whenever you have your water bottle and the pressure changes, and so I like opened the water bottle and the water squirted out so high. Got all over the lady next to me. And she was on like a 6-hour flight. Like she had to sit there. I know
what happened to you.
I know. I just turned to her and we both looked at each other. I was like, oh, I am so sorry.
Well, it's better water than lotion, because literally on one flight a while ago, I don't even remember where we were going, but I was sitting on the aisle and the person like diagonally in front of me or something opened like a bottle of lotion, and the lotion splattered. Luckily, it was all over her, but it literally went all over her, just like this thick, creamy white lotion.
Ew, don't say that. Why did you have to describe it like
in case
that?
you didn't know what lotion was?
Yeah, what?
But she just like somehow no one else saw. I don't know if it was like the middle of the flight and everyone else was sleeping, but she just like turns around and we made eye contact. And
you're like, don't worry, girl, I saw it. You're not getting away with that.
It was like nice.
So that is so funny.
Yeah.
But so yeah, airplanes are just embarrassing experiences at some point for everyone. But I wanted to make a comment on the fact that guy grabbed your suitcase for you, because I was listening to this other podcast the other day, and it was this girl that grew up in Georgia, and she like travels a lot. And she was making comments about how like she hates getting on flights like not in the South, because nobody ever helps her put her bag in the overhead bin. But in the South, she's like, anytime I'm flying out of the South, like someone always helps me, like because I'm just like a little girl. So like some guy will like grab the bag, and I'm like, yeah, literally no one's ever done that for me ever.
Yeah, well, this guy was such a gentleman, and he said he was from Michigan, so maybe just a little bit of Midwest kindness. But
yeah,
when we were leaving, then he like got my suitcase out and put it in the seat in front of us. He was like, I put your suitcase right here for you. Like,
man, what a
so
sweetheart.
Nice. He was so great.
Well,
but the Southwest thing, somebody needs to explain to me, because okay, then when I was flying home for my flight, I literally set an alarm and I made sure that I signed it, or I checked in as soon as I could, and I got C6. So I'm like, okay, I didn't even get. So I'm thinking that you have to have like status to get the higher boarding group.
Is. Well, because when I checked in like as soon as I could when I flew to Tulsa, and I was like in the very back, and I didn't think anything of it. I just figured that it doesn't matter when you check in. They just give it to you based on like how many times you've flown Southwest. And since that was literally my first time ever flying Southwest, I just figured they put me in the back.
Well, I want to hear other people's thoughts. If they like that, like if you're a frequent Southwest flyer and then you all of a sudden have to fly a flight that has assigned seats, is that weird to you? I think apparently the studies have shown that boarding method is the quickest way to board, which I don't even understand how that would be quicker. I guess people just like sit down in the first seat I don't know. So, but I'm just wondering if people actually that do that regularly, if they prefer that or not. So,
yeah. Well, there's some people that are like diehard Southwest people, right. So they must like it. But I personally don't really get it. Okay, so now we're going to get into some of our listener questions. We had some good ones this week. One of them was, is Denver walkable? Like, is it small enough to walk around from place to place, or is it spread out? I like honestly have no idea what
Denver's
Denver is
actually
like.
A really big city. So apparently it's the most walkable city in Colorado, but overall it's not super walkable compared to other cities like New York, Boston, you know, stuff like that. There's several little neighborhoods within Denver that are very walkable. So like my friend's apartment that we stayed in, we ran from her apartment, we went on a little run and we ran around this little park, which was so cute. It's called Wash Park. They have like a dirt path, they have a paved path, they have a little lake there, there's like pickleball courts. So Wash Park, so cute. We did our little 4-mile run loop around the park, and then we ended our run at a grocery store and we picked up some little picnic ingredients for our hike that we were going to do later that day, and then we like walked back to her apartment. So and there's like coffee shops and restaurants around there, so definitely she can walk to, you know, living in that little apartment, she can walk to a grocery store, restaurant, anything that she needs. Yeah, exactly. But then there's like major roads and big things that separate like one neighborhood to another, right? So it's like there's lots of little small neighborhoods that make it very walkable, but the city of Denver itself is very big and spread out. So it's not like as compact as I feel like a city like Boston was.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but there's good public transportation. For instance, when I landed at the airport, I took the train in from the airport, and it drops you right downtown Denver at Union Station, which that train station was gorgeous. I literally walked through the train station. I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm in a luxury like hotel.
Really?
Which apparently there is a hotel there you can stay at this station, but it was the most beautiful train station I've ever seen. It was so gorgeous.
I didn't picture Denver to have trains.
I don't
know why.
No, I know. I was like really shocked when my friend was like, oh, the train is so easy. Just take that in from the airport. It'll drop you right downtown and I'll pick you up from there. Because the airport itself is like a 40-minute drive from the downtown Denver. And traffic in Denver can get so bad. And so, so you just honestly, the train, if you're doing that, it took about the same amount of time as an Uber would take, and it was only $10 compared to an Uber that would have been like $55.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
So, and it was nice, you know, east side of Colorado, or like where Denver is on the east side where the airport is, there's like, it's not like mountains. You can see the mountains in the distance. It's not like that pretty of a ride, but it's just a relaxing train ride. So yeah, so that was really nice, being able to just get dropped off downtown Denver and then just getting picked up there. So that's definitely a cheap option instead of an Uber. It's super easy to figure out.
That's so convenient. Okay, sorry. Going back to the airport, I've heard stories told that the Denver airport is, first of all, like horrible, a nightmare.
So insane.
Is it just like really big?
It's like so crowded. I've never seen it be, I've flown in and out of Denver twice going to Denver, and then once I had a connection in Denver, and it seriously is just a madhouse. It's the craziest airport I've ever seen, the longest security lines I've ever seen. Thankfully, I have TSA pre-check now, but the first time I flew through Denver, I did not, and I almost missed my flight because the security line took so long. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
That seems so. Is it a big like hub for anything, or?
It's a big United hub. So it's an international airport, so it's a big airport. But I don't know. It's got to be just the layout, because it's just like,
well, because I know it's like super old. Like, that's also what I've heard. Like, one of my friends used to fly to Denver a lot because she had family there, and she would always tell me that the airport was haunted.
Well, my friend told me literally the night before we were flying out, she's like, maybe I won't put this in the podcast, but she's like, I think there was like some bad stuff happening at the Denver airport. Like, I think there was like some trafficking going on. So she was like, just be aware and be careful. and I didn't see anything. I was in and out of there really quick, but yeah, I don't know. Just be aware. There's a lot of people at the Denver airport, probably always. So just be aware.
Maybe give yourself some extra time if you have like a layover or flying out of there for some reason.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Good to know.
Or just get TSA pre-check. I promise you, that's worth it always.
Okay, so back on the topic of being outdoorsy, Denver is like so outdoorsy. Another listener question was, are there any good bike paths?
Yes.
That you would recommend?
So yes. Denver is apparently the 4th most bike-friendly city in the U.S. I saw there was this 2020 report that said that. And there's this path that my friend told me about called the Boulder to Denver Bikeway. It's 18 miles that connects Boulder to Denver, obviously. Nice. And it's a nice paved path that's really easy for bikers. And so Denver is a city that's near the mountains, but it's not in the mountains. And it's the Mile High City because it sits at exactly 5,280 feet, which is exactly a mile high, but it's not mountainous. It's like pretty much flat at that elevation. So it's high elevation, but it's pretty flat. So biking around Denver, it's not like super hilly. And even biking Denver to Boulder is not like crazy, like driving through or riding through mountains or anything.
That's nice. Like that's just not how I pictured it at all. I figured it was like so hilly and mountainous, but
yeah, no, it's like pretty flat, which is nice because you can like see pretty like a lot of where you're at in Denver. You can see the mountains in the distance. So, oh my gosh, yeah. Like when I first got there, and my friend, she's like, "Oh, I have to run to Target. Like, do you mind going to Target with me?" And it was truly like you see on the TikToks with like the gorgeous Target parking lot, mountainous backdrop. Literally. I was like, this feels like a dream.
That's crazy.
It just made me think. I was like, the Midwest is doing the best they can with what they're given.
They were not given much.
Yeah, I'm like,
they really weren't.
Doesn't stand a chance. Our Target parking lots have no chance of looking.
They just have potholes. That's all we have.
Yeah,
it's not our fault. We were given nothing to work with.
I know. I felt bad for our little Target here. I'm like, oh, you just you can't even stand a chance up next to these views.
That's crazy. Did you go to Boulder at all?
Yes.
Like to see the campus? Okay.
Yeah. We didn't walk around the campus, but we like drove by it, and then a hike that I'll talk about later. You could see the campus from up above in the mountains. So I have a picture of that.
So cool. That campus, every time I see pictures of it, I'm like, wow, that just looks so amazing.
I know, with the mountains just like in the background.
It just looks so picturesque always.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Okay. Another listener question. Any good coffee shops or brunch spots? They asked because they're going there soon, so they wanted some good recommendations.
Yay! Have a great trip to Denver. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I feel like there are so many coffee shops in Denver. I felt like there was such a big coffee culture there because I feel like it goes hand in hand kind of with like the active lifestyle because people are waking up early. They're going to go do like your hikes before it gets too hot, or, you're trying to like go do a bike ride or a run or whatever it is. And then you like go to a coffee shop after for brunch. Yeah. And so there's so many, like there's this place called Wash Perk, which is right near that park I was talking about, Wash Park, where we like did our little run.
Okay. So it's like Central Park, Perk.
Exactly. So yeah. So we went to that coffee shop. It was super cute. It was so good. And there was just like people there in like running attire. Like you could just tell it's just like everybody there just came from their activity that they were doing.
I love that.
Yeah, it was great. So I feel like there's so many. That Wash Perk is just one that we went to, but there's so many others. And then we went to this really good bakery called Petunia's Bakery. It was just kind of a random one that we stumbled across actually on the way to where we were going that day and for our hike. And it was so good. It had the best quiche like I've ever had, and we got a scone. And but I feel like there's so many different little bakeries and stuff. You really can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Similar to like the coffee culture though, they have like a big brewery culture. So Denver is known for brewing a lot of beer and having a ton of breweries, which was
cool.
super fun. So, okay, we did this like snow tubing thing, which was so fun. And
Okay.
we were late getting there. You had to reserve, do a reservation, whatever. And we were late getting there, of course, a group of like 5 girls. And so the people were like, okay, why don't you just like come back in an hour and you can hop in with that reservation time so you can get your full time. So we're like, okay, perfect. So we just like hopped over to a brewery and had a beer. And, the elevation there, you don't have to drink much and you can already start to get a little tipsy. So
amazing.
Then when we go back to this snow tubing thing, it's like meant for children, but we like had so much fun doing our little sledding on these big, huge inner tubes, like a little bit too tipsy for what we were supposed to be doing.
That is so funny.
Yeah, we had a great time. So, but then after that, we were so hungry. And so we're like, okay, we need just like a good burger and fries. And we stumbled upon this place called Creek Brewing Company. And I am not kidding you. It was the best burger and fries I've had in my entire life. It was so good.
What was so good about it?
It had like this caramelized onions and like bacon jam something on it.
So good.
And then beer cheese on it. It was delicious. And the fries were like
so
perfectly crispy and seasoned. It was so yummy. Denver apparently claims the origin of the cheeseburger though, so they better know how to do good burgers.
Really?
Apparently that's like debated though. Like some
I don't know if I believe that.
I know. So I don't know. I was told that when I was there, and then I also stumbled upon that online when I was prepping for this episode too. But that it's like highly debated if they actually are the origin place for the cheeseburger or not. So if any of our listeners know, if you think someone else is actually the origin of the cheeseburger, please let us know.
Yeah, we can debate this. Yeah. Love a good comment section argument. Okay, back to the snow tubing stuff. So like, was it snowy when you were there up at that altitude? Like, what was the weather like?
So in Denver, no, there was no snow like in Denver. It was so warm. Like, we ran in shorts and a tank top and we're walking around shorts and tank top. It was so nice. But we drove to do this snow tubing. We drove to a town called Frisco, which is closer to the mountains and it's higher up in elevation. And so they did have snow there. That's where most people go over that way for skiing and stuff like that. The town of Frisco was super cute. It was like a little mountain town. And so that's where most of like the more winter activities and stuff happen out there. But it was like so warm. I mean, we were like snow tubing and it was like 60 degrees, or it was maybe like 50.
Crazy.
But it was 50 and sunny. And like a Colorado 50 is so much warmer than a Midwest 50. Like,
because you're closer to the sun.
Yeah, you're higher up and
you're
closer to the sun. Like, I don't know. The sun feels so powerful there. So
interesting. I would not have expected that. Okay. Last listener question we have is it worth the hype? I feel like you hear people talk about going to Colorado and like so many people are moving to Denver right now. I feel like that's like all I hear about. So what do you think? Is it worth it?
Well, I feel like yes, it has all the perks of a big city. Restaurants, nightlife, concerts, so many sports teams. They're like football stadiums right downtown. They have basketball, whatever. They have everything. And so they have all the city perks. And then they also have all these outdoor activities that you can do.
Yeah, that's so true.
Detroit is a big city that has great restaurants,
concrete
nightlife.
Jungle.
But then it's like, okay, we have like the lakes, but there's not like hikes and stuff to do like close by to Detroit or like same with, New York. You have like a lot of these big cities have one big park, but it's not like a ton of outdoor activities that you can do.
Right.
Like the hiking, and they also have summer activities and winter activities with the skiing, and snow tubing, stuff like that. And then there's hikes, running, biking, everything that you can do. So I feel like that's very, very unique to have a big city with also being super close to places you can go to do all these outdoor activities. So I feel like that's really cool. And then, like the concert, even like their big city things like the concert venue, like Red Rocks Amphitheater. You've seen that, right, Hallie?
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. So that's obviously such a unique experience that you can't get like anywhere else. That would be amazing to go to a concert there. I've been there and have hiked around there, and it's so funny because when there's not concerts there, there's just people like working out. Like there's people like running up and down those stairs. And
I've heard about people. That's like a famous like workout challenge is like running the stairs at Red Rocks.
Yeah, but a concert there would be so cool. So yeah, they have like all sorts, Denver has all sorts of unique things to it like that are different than just like a normal big city. But then also, the weather is really good. You get great winters because it's so sunny. I mean, Denver has like 300 plus days of sun per year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So even in the winter, usually the weather is super nice because it's really sunny.
Yeah. Well, and it's like the winters wouldn't be as depressing there because there's still so many fun activities that you can do. Whereas
exactly.
Like, here, not only is it like cloudy and gray, but it's like, what do we do? Like we can't just go skiing. Like I don't know.
I mean you can, but the Midwest ski resorts are just nothing compared to the mountains.
Real.
Yeah. Which I have yet to ski anywhere other than the Midwest. So there were some super, super steep hills that we were seeing when we were driving into Frisco to do our snow tubing. And there was people skiing down there. I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks so scary. It looks so
I don't know if
steep.
I could do that. I like the really gradual winding ones that
which they have those too
on.
And the thing about Colorado is those runs can take like like the Midwest runs literally take like a minute, but there's runs in the mountains that can take like I don't know 30 minutes or more.
I can't even imagine that.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So, but no, the hike I love hiking. So anywhere that I can be like close access to hikes is just so fun. So I feel like Denver would be a cool place to live, honestly, for that reason. Like people, it's the active culture. Like we were talking about, the active lifestyle is people meet up instead of like, oh, do you want to go meet up for dinner? It's like, oh, do you want to meet up for a hike? And I love that. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, the one hike that we did was called Flatirons, which is technically in Boulder, not in Denver, but it's a pretty quick drive over there. And it's just under 3 miles. We had our little picnic at the top, and it was so fun.
So fun.
We were like, for some reason, Kerrigan had a bag of jelly beans. My friend Kerrigan had a bag of jelly beans, and we were just like at the top of this hike, and we were just stuffing our faces with these jelly beans.
I didn't even think you liked jelly beans.
They were the Starburst jelly beans.
Oh, so, those are fire, actually.
Yeah. So we were eating so many of those, and we were just like joking about like which flavors we liked the best, and we were like screaming at the top of this hill, like, oh, the green jelly beans are the best, the pink ones, whatever. And I was like, I hope no one is like watching us be so weird right now. Like this is just what we do when all of us get together. We just are just like goofy and like building off of each other.
Yeah, and like whenever you're with like your people, it's just so unhinged.
It's so unhinged. We're like, how old are we? But I literally look to my right up a little bit above us, and I make eye contact with this guy that's just like staring down.
He's like, yeah, there are people here, so shut up.
I know. I literally was like, I hope no one's watching us. And then I turned and look at him, but then he was embarrassed that I saw him, and literally it was so windy. He had like a sweatshirt kind of like wrapped around his neck. And when I saw him and he was embarrassed, and then his sweatshirt like blew up over his face. And then he was like trying to get the sweatshirt down. So then
he had problems of his own.
Yeah, I was embarrassed that he saw us, and then he was embarrassed about the whole situation. So it evened out. But
so you're fine,
yeah. This Flatirons hike, it's great. We had like after we ate our jelly beans, then we got our little charcuterie out. We were eating our cheese and crackers, and we were just hanging out up there, and it was so nice. It was so enjoyable. The views are great. Like I said, you could see like University of Colorado down below, and since to the west are the mountains, then you could oversee Denver and the skyline to the east, and you can just see so far, because there's like eastern Colorado doesn't really have a lot because the Rocky Mountains are on the western part of Denver and Boulder and all that, and then otherwise you can see so far. So the views were really cool. But
that sounds so amazing.
I also have to ask what your thoughts are on going on a hike for a first date, especially this type of hike that was like 3 miles I mean, it took us like several hours. And it's like, especially if you like, you know, we went up to the top and didn't just like turn around right away. You like stay up at the top for a little bit. But when we were walking down, there was like a few couples that we like passed or that we were near, and we were just kind of like listening to them. We're like, I think they're on like a first date. If not a first date, it's like a very early date.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's like a long
I'd be scared.
time. Yeah.
Well, also, it's like you're going into the woods with a man you don't know.
Well,
like,
okay. These hikes, the hike that we were going on was like so crowded. You were like with people the whole time. Like,
okay.
It wasn't like
so then
an
that's
isolated
fine.
hike. Well, okay. But my thought is just like, that's like a long time that you like, if it's going poorly, you can't escape.
Oh no.
Like, I think a walk is a great option for a first date. Just like a short little like walk around a lake or something like that, where it's like
where there's a clear beginning and an end, and it's gonna be like within an hour.
Exactly. And if it's going poorly, then you can be like, oh, I actually have to go. Or if it's going well, you're like, oh, let's do another loop or something.
Right.
But like this hike, it's like you commit to that. You're like, if you get to the top and it's just like going awful, you still have to walk all the way down. So, but we were like, as we were leaving, we could hear these two, like this guy and this girl. And it was like definitely a first date, because the guy was like, oh yeah, I was like just about to text you. Like, I'm in the blue shirt and the black hat. And then I like saw you walk. So it was definitely like a Hinge date or something, you know, where they're like meeting up for the first time and going on this hike. And I was just like, I don't know. I just want to know if people have done that, if it's gone well, that has it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
How long do you think it would take to just like go straight up and straight back?
Probably, I don't know. I forget how long it took us. 2 hours?
Yeah, that's
so.
kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not that bad, but yeah, I don't know. It's like,
no, I think I would just like, that would make me nervous, because I'd be like, oh my God, I have no out. Like I'm stuck.
Also, I like definitely fell down on the way down, so that would just be embarrassing.
No, because I would too. Like, I fall on flat ground, so me trying to hike with someone that I'm trying to impress, that would never go well for me.
Yeah, I know. Well, and when you're like trying to like talk the whole time, you're just focused on the conversation and not like focused on where you're putting your feet. So
true.
Yeah, but the other thing about Denver though is the cost of living there is really high. Like rent and everything like that is really high, because I feel like they know everybody wants to live there, so they can rack up the prices and people will still live there. So that's kind of annoying. It's expensive to live there.
Okay.
But you're paying for what you get. You get those good views. You get the access to the mountains, everything like that.
That's true.
But overall, Denver was a great city. The couple times I've been there, I've loved it. Colorado in general just has a lot to offer. So, Hallie, I feel like you would love it. You need to go sometime.
Oh, I know I would love it. I just like, I wish I knew somebody that like lived out there, so I had an excuse to go. Anything else you want to share, or do you think that covered it?
I think that's it. Like I said, I know that's not all that Denver has to offer. That was just my little quick tidbits. If we ever go back and revisit our cities that we've already done an episode on, we can always update you guys with new thoughts and new recommendations that we have.
So true. As far as some closing announcements, as we wrap this up, we do want to let you guys know that we're not going to be doing an episode next week. I will be on spring break, so
get ready to hear.
I always think of the Friends scene when they're like, was she on spring break or was she on spring break?
Spring break.
I will just be on spring break. I'll be in Naples, so it's like chill.
Well, get ready. I hope you have some good
Kirsten
stories.
just gave me a look. He was like,
yeah. I haven't heard. Pearson has been sitting here listening to our podcast the whole time, and we got no giggles. So he's our tough critic. He's
been studying.
Funny.
He's been focused.
Good boy.
I don't think he's even been listening to us.
That's fair. Yeah, so no episode next week because Hallie's going to be gone, and I am also getting ready for a trip that I'm going to as well. So we're so sorry to leave you guys hanging next week.
But we're making content for you guys.
Exactly.
You gotta let us travel so we have enough stuff to talk about. So we're still doing it for you.
Get ready for our next coming episodes. You'll hear all of Hallie's spring break stories.
Okay, I think that's it.
I think that's it. So we hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday and you don't miss our